Hey, welcome back to Spray River Homestead. I'm Kanan.
I'm Nikki.
And today is Wednesday. And on Wednesdays, we do Would You Rather Wednesdays. So today, our topic is going to be one of these four. Let's see what she picks.
Would you rather do electric cooking, propane cooking, or wood-fired cooking?
Ooh, now that one we're going to have to say propane or natural gas because it seems like that is a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a couple minutes here to come up with our Would You Rather of which one we choose and why. And then we're going to let you know what is going to be. All right, so we have come up with our decision of what we would choose and why. And Nikki's going to allow me to go first this time.
Well, let the guy who doesn't do any cooking go first.
All right, so I would say out of all of these, I think it's going to kind of depend, at least to start with, on what you have in your house or where you live or wherever you reside. If you don't have power, well, you can throw electrical out. If you live in the desert, you probably don't want to cook by wood. And if you don't have a tank or have deliveries for propane or natural gas, well, those are bad choices. So for us, I'm going to say, since we can cook by wood if we had a wood stove, which we do, we can cook on it. Takes all day, which kind of stinks if you're really hungry.
They make wood-fired ranges.
You could do that if you wanted to. Electric cooking, I say, is probably pretty good. We had an electric range or a flat top range, glass top, down in Mississippi at our last house, which I thought was pretty awesome. Very good for cleaning. I preferred it over the little propane grill or the grill burners that we have. And we do have propane here, and I will say it's pretty good for heat, but it tends to burn the pans. And maybe that's just because I'm a bad cook. So, out of all those three, I honestly, if I can make wood work, I think I might do wood as my primary because we live in the woods and we have a lot of resource available. I just have to go get it, cut it down to size, split it to size, etc. But for a choice between electric or a gas, I would probably choose electric if I could have a flat top because I feel like it's easier to clean, cooks about the same, and we do have power here. Even though we're off-grid, we can do power. What do you got?
Okay, so as somebody who actually cooks, it's always fun to have these questions where I'm like, you don't do any of this. Clearly, you don't do any of this. I've always been intrigued by the idea of a wood range. The thing is, I have heard from everybody, and I'm in a lot of different groups, that learning to bake on one takes a lot of practice, and there's a lot of things to get right because it's wood fired. So being able to adjust what you need to adjust to be able to bake for anything is a little tough. It's also really tough during the summer months. This is why a lot of people that have the old wood-fired ranges do something else in the summer, or they have a detached kitchen. I see some people, depending on where you're at, I've seen a few people that use them year-round, but they put off a lot of heat compared to modern-day appliances. We have propane now. Propane and natural gas is about the same, but we have propane now. There are things I don't like about it, but it's got nothing to do actually with the propane and everything to do with the really old model of stove that we have, which we're getting ready to get rid of. And that's because ours is so old. We have standing pilot lights, and I don't like it because it continuously puts off fumes. Not that you really notice it, but it does put off fumes, continuously burns fuel. You can get a breeze, or it'll get kind of crusty and it'll put the pilots out, and then you've got to take it all apart and get it relit. So I don't really care for that. But electric is not terribly efficient. Now I would have electric burners. We do have enough power most of the time that we could do electric burners. But for us being off grid, we could never make an electric oven work. And so that's kind of why we're on propane to begin with. You can't get away from the fact that gas is the choice of master chefs. I like it just fine, but again, it's an old stove. So when we turn it, when you get it started up, the gauge isn't terribly accurate because it's a conversion on a really old stove. So I'll tell somebody to put it on low, and if you don't get down and physically look at how low the flame is going, well, you can put it on low and it's still medium to high. So he does burn pans and he does burn stuff because he doesn't necessarily know where a low flame should be. So me personally, even though propane and natural gas have gotten really expensive, we don't use a ton of it. Like our 500-gallon tank with a little bit of heat, just the range and the water heating, we only use 100 gallons, 125 gallons in a year. So our 500-gallon thing can go like 3 and 4 years pretty easy. So I find that cheaper than electric. I don't have to worry about, winter months. Do we have enough power? And I don't have to overheat the house in wood. So I am going with gas, even though gas has gotten expensive.
Even though they're about to make your new stove contraband.
They're never going to do it. It's a part of a bigger conversation. When I've really read through what they're really worried about there is basically indoor air quality, which I think is getting ready to open a can of worms for a whole bunch of other regulations that have nothing to do with the range. I think the range, the number I saw is like 45% of homes in the United States are gas ranges, whether that's propane or natural gas. So that's going to be a tough one. I mean, obviously they're doing it with cars, so maybe I'm completely out of line, but I don't think it's going to happen. At least no time soon. How about that?
Okay, I can agree with that.
On the safe side of that, I am buying a new range like now.
Yeah.
Because I was going to put it off, and there's always a chance that they're going to do away with them. And they have tightened up the regulations a lot. I looked at one last year from Whirlpool that they don't make anymore. So there's only 2 companies now that I can find a true all gas with propane conversion for us, with the oven and the range burners. There's only 2 companies I can find, and one of them my mom's had and was not crazy about, so we're going to try the other one. And I'm still going to get one because who knows what's about to happen. If they tighten the regulations up on it, which is a concern, they're going to get even more expensive. So they've already gotten really expensive, so I'm going to try and slide in there and get a new one before they're even worse.
All right, so it sounds like wood is a 0 between us. Nobody would choose to do wood necessarily. I'd still lean towards electric, but I don't do a lot of cooking. That's obvious because it's been said about 3 times in this video. And Nikki would go with some kind of gas, either propane or natural gas, which I can concur on that. Some of the pieces there definitely do that.
You would do fine if there was better control, and it's got to do with this range.
Okay, well, let's check back after we put in a new range and see how bad of a cook I still am. Otherwise, I think that's probably a good decision. Now, if you guys have comments on this on really the 3, if somebody out there is going to defend wood, we'd love to know why you would say wood is the best choice over a gas or electric. But if you don't have gas or electric at your residence, they're probably not going to be the best choice. So tell us what you'd pick of the 3, and then you have to defend it. Why would you choose that over the other 2? So that's it from this time at Sprague Homestead. Any future questions or topics, go ahead and leave those down below. Make sure you hit subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time.
Happy homesteading.